plus. That's the plus. And if I get any fucking phone calls or texts from people, where the fuck is the card? Then I'm gonna let Uncle Striz have it. I'm gonna let Uncle Striz have it. I'm gonna let him have it. You hear me, Uncle Striz? I'm gonna let you have it. I'm doing what you said. Anyway, that's going on, people. How is everyone doing this Saturday afternoon, 12:05 p.m. or wherever you are? It could be a different time depending on what time zone you're in. But right now, where we're at, it's 12:05 p.m. Eastern
Standard Time.
Thank you. So listen,
Eastern.
folks. What are we doing here on the ChAoS today? What are we doing? Nothing. We're just sitting around thinking about the steak and cheese that I'm cooking. You know, I'm gonna come up with a new show, right? I'm gonna call this show the ChAoS Casserole. Why? Because I cook a lot of shit in this casserole dish that you would probably otherwise not necessarily cook in a casserole dish. Yeah. I just want to say, you probably are like, oh, casserole dishes have been around for a very long time, since the days that I can remember as a child. That ceramic dish with the glass top that I always broke. Always broke that glass top, fucking around with it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I broke it several times. Several different casserole dishes we had in our house that had no tops to them. But luckily mine has a top. It's not the biggest casserole dish. I want to get a bigger one because, like I said, I've made everything from tacos to stews to steak and cheese is what I'm making right now with onions, peppers, and mushrooms. Healthy. Because what I did is I cooked the meat in the casserole dish. A little water just so it didn't, like, burn and stick to the casserole dish, right? Then I poured all that fat the fuck off. Right? Added a little bit of butter, European style Plugart butter, to my mushrooms and peppers. Let that cook in the casserole dish, folks, in the casserole dish. Once that sat there and cooked for a while, the moisture from the goddamn vegetables themselves, or if you want to call them vegetables, the fruit and fungus water, moisture created. Put the meat back in there, right? Boom. Moisture. Slapped several slices of cheese. I think at least 8, maybe 10. You
slapped ham?
Bam. Put it back in the casserole dish. Turned it down. Don't want the meat to be mush. I don't know who wants a mushy fucking meat sandwich. That's gross and disgusting. If that, you should just like process some Spam and throw it on bread, and you would probably not eat it. But anyway, that's not what I'm doing. I just like the casserole dish because it's summertime, right? And I don't want to stand over a hot ass stove doing all this stuff. And my kitchen gets hot as fuck. It gets so hot in there, and I'll be in there like, I don't want to be in here right now. So I'll step away, and then I'll step back in there, and shit's burning. Because, my stove has a mind of its own. I think Rosamund's in it doing Rosamund stuff. Because I'll turn it on 4, and then I'll come back to it, right? And when I come back to it, there's like, it's burning. And this is within a few minutes. It's like, it's on 4, and it seems like it's on like 8, because it'll be glowing red. And I'm like, you shouldn't be glowing at 4. There's no reason for you to glow at 4. But it doesn't do it all the time. It's weird, so I can't ever gauge it. And if I'm using it, I have to actually sit there and fucking watch it. And I don't want to do that. Sometimes I just want to, especially with caramelized onions, I don't have to stand there and watch it the whole time. I mean, you can if you want to, but I kind of have it down to a science where I know every time I have to come in and put a little bit of water in there just to keep that shit from drying out. But this stove is possessed. It's possessed. Which leads me into today's reason why we're here, to discuss my possessed stove.
What?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that on the ChAoS live.
What?
So it's sort of like a stupid, scary story, if you will.
How did it turn into this?
Because that's what it does. It always does this. It does this even when it doesn't do it. It does it. And a lot of people don't know about the things that happen here, but they're going to find out right now.
What?
No, that's the wrong music. Music came from me putting on some music.
From where? What?
Now, my son might not be aware of this. He's probably not, you know. I remember the last time that he was in the kitchen. He had baked some muffins, right? These muffins were pretty fucking good. I'm not gonna lie to you. They were good. They didn't look like traditional muffins. You know, they were kind of flat, moist, delicious they were. Grabbed one of them up and ate it. I heard a laugh come from the kitchen, didn't think anything of it, right? Fast forward several months later now, today, I'm in the kitchen by myself, making a lasagna. I put it in the oven, I hear this same laugh. Right? I'm like, what the fuck? Nobody's in the house with me. Who's laughing? Hey! The fuck, man? Shut up upstairs or downstairs or next door. I don't want to hear your shit in my house. You're laughing. It sounds you're laughing in my house, and I don't like it because I'm not laughing about shit I'm cooking. Right? Now, of course, I don't hear any response, but the laughing continues, and now I'm getting extra angry. I'm getting extra angry now because I've asked it to stop. So now I'm walking around. I go ringing doorbells of people next door. Ding, ding. They come to the door. They're not laughing, but, you know, it's not because they're mad that I answered, you know, went to the door. They're just not laughing, you know. So, you know, first person I ring the door, I'm like, hey, the fuck is wrong with you laughing so loud that I have to hear you in my fucking kitchen where I'm making noise and I shouldn't hear you, but I hear you. Stop laughing. Slam the door in my face is what they did. Rang the next door. There's, you know, 3 other people that live on the same floor as me. Bing, bing. Right? Lady comes to the door. I said, shut the fuck up! Slammed the door in my own face this time. Didn't want to give them the satisfaction. Slamming the door in my face. You know? Rang the last doorbell. A gentleman comes to the door. I said, hey, listen, you know, I'd appreciate it if you keep it the fuck down. Okay? Or I'm going to come in here and I'm going to silence you myself. Sock in the mouth. Duct tape around the face. Shut up, you will. Alright? Shut up, you will. And he shut the fuck up and closed his door right in my face. I went back to my apartment, went back to the kitchen, started cooking again, right? You know? I hear the laughing again. Oh boy, I threw the pan into the wall. My neighbor came and knocked on my door. I punched him in the face by accident because, well, it wasn't an accident. I'm lying. I shouldn't lie. I tell my sons never to lie, that it's a bad thing to lie, especially to family. And I shouldn't lie to you guys. You guys are like family. You're listening to me ramble on about shit, and I'm lying to you that I punched him in the face by accident. The fact is, I did punch him in the face, and it wasn't an accident. I punched him right in the face. Teeth knocked right out of his mouth. He's shocked. I'm shocked because one of his teeth got stuck on my knuckle, and I didn't think that could happen, you know? So I'm like, oh God. Ha. Pull it out. Throw it at him. Take your tooth, bitch. Fuck out of here. Close the door. Immediately upon doing that, I feel bad about what I just did because he's an old guy. You know, he's like 90 and shit. You know? Like, it's like punching my grandmother in the face. Which, if I did punch my grandmother in the face, I might as well dig my own grave, buy my own casket, put myself in said casket, in suit, ready to be buried. Because that's what's going to happen if I punch my 96-year-old grandmother in the face. And you're probably like, yeah, because everybody's going to whoop your ass. No, not everybody. She's going to whoop my ass. My grandmother ain't no fucking joke. I'm dead ass serious. I'm not making a joke about this, folks, right now. I know you think it's funny, you know, but no, my grandmother is no fucking joke. You think just because she's sitting in a wheelchair that she can't get out of it. And normally she wouldn't be able to. But when the time comes for her to whoop upon your ass in ways that you are not familiar with, ever reading about happening, you will be like, holy fucking shit, this old, cute old lady who bakes cakes and pies and rolls just whooped my ass with a steel beam that I didn't even see. Where did she get it from? And could someone please dial 911 because I'm hemorrhaging increasingly bad, and then you're dead, and that's what would happen to you. It almost happened to me. I'm not lying. I'm serious. Let me break off into that story real quick, and then we'll get back to the story that I'm telling. This is a true story, folks. Don't be mad at me, Nana. Don't be mad at me, okay? I'm going to tell the truth. You know, I'm going to tell the exact truth. One day I'm upstairs with my bitch of an estranged wife, my 2 sons, and my little cousin, right? And I think maybe one other child, my oldest. Well, I don't know if I can call him my oldest son anymore because he's disowned me. So, my oldest sperm donation. That sounds even gross. That sounds gross, like like you busted a nut on some shit and it never got used. It's just old and moldy. Well, yeah, my old sperm donation, right? Right. It was there.
All right.
And so
Right.
my daughter comes and she knocks on my back door. Now, back in those times, shit was volatile. My baby mother and me did not, and I hate to use the word baby mother, my first children's mom was a bitch. Literally, she was a bitch. She did a lot of bitch shit, and that's what it was. Now, my thing with her was not how she treated me, it was how she treated my kids. I didn't like the way she treated them. You know, so that was my big issue. So let's just get that established there. None of the things that I'm saying about her has anything to do with me being mad like, oh my God, I want her back. Let me tell you something real quick, women. I want this to be established first and foremost. Your bro here is not thirsty at all. I'm not thirsty in the slightest. And I haven't had sex in 4 fucking years. And I don't care. Because I'm very fucking particular about what I stick my dick in. You understand what I'm saying? Never been diseased, never even had crabs. And I know what you're probably saying. Oh my God, his little son is sitting right there next to him while he's saying these things. You're goddamn right he is. So he can learn. How else does one learn unless they have to experience or learn from the experiences of those around them? I don't want my son to have to learn from those experiences. So I show him and tell him and let him know what it really is. Like Poison said, never trust a big butt and a smile. Now that goes on to other things, but shut the fuck up. Let me get back to what I was talking about in the first place. My daughter knocked on the door. I answered it. Hey, Marty, what you doing? Nah, can I come upstairs? I said, sure, no problem. Come upstairs, come on in. She comes in, you know, and all of a sudden my grandmother's calling her downstairs. Oh, Marty, oh. Because her mother didn't want her around my, at the time, wife. My wife never really did anything to my kids except be shitty to me, so my kids, you know, older children didn't like that, so it made them really uncomfortable. It's just a lot of discomfort the past 16 years. A lot of discomfort. But neither here nor there. She knocks on the door. I tell her she can come in. She comes in. She gets called back downstairs. She goes downstairs. She's mad that she has to go downstairs because she wants to spend time with her dad and her brothers, you know. She wants to, and I'm all for it, right? I'm all for it. Always have been for my children being together. Never wanted them apart. But bitches, as they were, wanted to keep that dynamic status quo. So my daughter ends up going downstairs, and when she goes downstairs to her grandmother, she says certain things to her grandmother, but I want to be upstairs and blah, blah, blah. And so my grandmother, you know, reacting to not liking the fact that she's being told about some shit and loving my children more so than she loves anything in the world, hears this, and it sparks a fire in her gut. A fire that I didn't know had been set. Understand, when I got down there, I thought I had at least a chance to spark the match, throw the match, and then get away. No, I did not have those two options. I was already in the danger zone as soon as I came down the stairs, but I was unaware because my grandma is very good at keeping you from knowing when she's gonna fuck you up. Unless she wants you to know she's gonna fuck you up. And if she wants you to know she's gonna fuck you up, it's worse than when you don't know she's gonna fuck you up. Read into it as you will, what I just said, but understand that either way, if my grandmother fucks you up, you are getting fucked up. She don't fucking play no goddamn games, and she don't pull no fucking punches. Alright? She don't. Never has. And I know until the day that she rests her eyes, God bless her soul, she never will. Now I go down there and, you know, my grandma's like, why don't you this, that, and the other? And I'm looking at her like, you're following behind some woman. And she's only doing it because of the kids. People kept playing my grandmother using my kids because they all knew she loved my kids. So my grandmother thinks she's protecting my children. She goes into Nana Bear mode, okay? Nana Bear. Nana Bear is worse than Mama Bear. I know what you're all saying. Oh, Mama Bears are the worst creatures to fuck with. No, they're not. Nana Bears are. Nana Bears will whoop anything. Even the children that they've sworn to protect the children of those children that they've also been sworn to protect. You understand what I'm saying? Nana Bears will protect the youngest and smallest and most weakest of anything without question, discrimination, prejudice, or care for their own safety. Now, mind you, my Nana sits in a wheelchair because she had spinal fusion surgery where 7 discs in her back had to be replaced with fucking titanium pins. And I want you to understand this. She also has a thyroid condition which put weight on her that she never had. My grandmother used to be my size. Now she's a little, she's Nana. That's all I can say. I don't consider her fat. I consider her Nana. And you guys are probably like, well, you're always talking shit about fat people. My grandmother gained weight because they burned her thyroid out back when they didn't know what a thyroid was. They literally burned them out with iodine. Radioactive material. My grandmother has no thyroids. Gone. So she has nothing to regulate her metabolism, which also led to some of her mental problems. Made her a little bit more aggressive and crazy than most. But at the core of her being, she is a Nana Bear. She will protect her family with any and everything within her grasp, including rebar that she magically appeared out of nowhere from her wheelchair. How she got this perfectly formed 2-foot piece of rebar to beat me upon the neck, head, back, and arms with, I don't know. But let me tell you what prompted her to do these things. You're like, you must have did some really fucked up shit. Yes, I did. But it wasn't what you think. It wasn't what you think. I didn't hit her. I didn't threaten to hit her. I didn't even stand in a menacingly postured way of letting her think that I was going to do anything to her at a time. Now, all my kids were there. My youngest children, my oldest 2 children, my sister, and I think my nieces. It was a lot of kids, and my cousins. Kids, tons of them. But once you understand my Nana Bear's resolve, alright? Now, some of the children who she was sworn to protect in her mind were amongst those between me and her, right? So the first thing she smacked me with when I said, you can kiss my ass. Now you're like, why would you even say kiss your ass to your grandmother? Well, she said some really fucked up shit that was spurred on by some shit that she had heard from someone who does nothing but lie about her, which is my baby mother, or the mother of my first 2 children. Right? So I was pissed off about this because she knows me. You're my grandmother. You fucking raised me. You know I would never do no shit like that. So I told her to kiss my ass. Ha! Not good. Now you're probably saying, well, yeah, you should have never did that. But should I have damn near been beaten to death for saying so? No, of course not. But understand a Nana Bear. Okay? A Nana Bear goes to fucking war for her brood. And I mean war against anything. She's like a man, but not. Alright? She'll nurture you and care for you and, oh, you lovely little baby boy. But then when you fuck up, or you come crying to her about you got bullied and shit, no. You don't get coddled then at all. No, you get told, you better fucking go back out there and fucking deal with that shit, or I'm gonna whip your fucking ass. And you're in there, you're like, wait. But you're a Nana Bear. Like, yeah, Nana Bear. You forgot the bear part, didn't you? Nana, cakes, pies, cookies and such. Bear, everything else. So yeah, that's my Nana. Love her to fucking death. Thank you, Nana, for everything that you've done. I wouldn't be the man I am if it wasn't for you. Or my mom, or my dad, or my grandfather. Those 4 people right there why I am who I am, whether it be good or bad. But the fact that I can survive the way I do is testament to them. Anyway, back to Nana Bear. Whooping my ass. The first thing that happened when I said kiss my ass, no longer than the S came off the S of the second S in ass, did a cane smack my dome piece 3 fucking times in less than 2 seconds. Pow, pow, pow. I snatched this fucking cane out of her hand, threw it across the fucking room because I didn't know where else to throw it, except where I wasn't going to hit her with it. Never. Listen, let me tell you something about Nana Bear. Of course, she's Nana Beared the fuck out of everybody in our fucking family, okay? There's not one person in our family who has not had Nana Bear put paws on them. And I mean paws. And when she puts paws on you, it's not a spanking. I want you guys to understand, Nana Bear never slaps you. It's never one smack. You get your ass beat. Switches, rag, spatula, shoe. Nana, I'm sorry. Don't be mad. I know some people are like, that's abuse. No, we deserved it. We were troubled. You know, we did what we did. We did what we did. We wanted to explore boundaries, and this is how we learned what our boundaries were. We pressed and pressed and pressed, and Nana Bear, along with others, like Dad and Mom and Grandpa Bear, would whoop ass and let us know, no, you don't do that. You're not going to do that. And if you think you're going to do that, you're going to have to do that somewhere else. If you survive to get to that place where you will live like a jackass and a piece of shit. Now, my grandfather was a decorated veteran. 4 Bronze Stars, World War II. Left the Army with several decorations. We were not going to tarnish his name. And he never said that, but it was just kind of known. My grandmother had the utmost respect for my grandfather. She didn't always outwardly have it, but she did. Like, he was the fucking man. And my grandfather said very few words. Like, if you came up around my house, you would swear my grandmother ran shit. You would think she did, because she was the mouth. But she only said what was necessary to be said because my grandfather was a man of few words. If he had to speak to you, it was usually not something that you wanted to hear, because it was usually him telling you you were fucking up. And if you were fucking up and he had to tell you that you were fucking up and more than just a 2-cent ad in, well, you were about to get the Grandpa Bear paws put on you. And you did not want the Grandpa Bear paws put on you. There was no emotion involved at all. There was no joy in his eyes. There was nothing in his eyes. I remember several times when he snatched my little ass up with one arm and whooped my ass with the other one while walking me to my grandmother to then get my ass whooped again. Now, mind you, you're probably all saying, oh, abuse, abuse, abuse. And you Gen Alphas and Gen Zs would probably swear up and down it's abuse, but it's not. I did things I was not supposed to do. And even if you're like, well, you're a kid, you explore, yes. And as a child, you need to have your boundaries set early, or you grow up in life and you go out into a place where they don't set any boundaries, or at least not as strict as they should, and then you think you can get away with murder. And some often try to, and then they find out you can't do that. That's not how life works. And then you're stuck in a situation with kids like the ones we have now, who have a language I don't understand, and I don't want to understand. But that's neither here nor there. Back to Nana Bear. Cane 3 times to the head, it went. I grabbed it, threw it, I did. My kids are all standing there in shock, because they've never seen Nana like this. To this point, all they've seen Nana do is cakes, pies, apples and oranges and bananas and fruits and leftover biscuits and food. You know, Nana stuff. Nana stuff. Love, hugs, kisses. Oh, baby, here's some candy and some dumb lollipops and all that stuff. They were completely in shock. All they did was they couldn't even cry. Because at the time, they didn't know what to do. Like, your dad's getting his ass whooped, and a woman that you love is whooping his ass. They had no idea what to do except just stand there and watch. And that's exactly what they did, is they stood there and watched as the cane whizzed past their head and into the floor. Now, mind you, I'm looking in the direction that I've thrown said cane, which is towards the front of the living room. She's sitting right to my left. Before I get a chance to turn back to face her, which is less than 3 seconds, I'm feeling blunt force smashing into my arm, side of my head, and my fucking shoulder. Then back because I turned, because whatever this is feels thin but blunt. And I know if it cracks me in the side of my head, I'm not going to, this isn't going to go well for me. So I turn and I start catching these smacks in my back, right? Now, it's at this time, I believe that one of my children, I think it was my daughter, runs up to the second floor where my sister happened to be and tells my sister, I think she was living up there at the time, that basically Nana is about to beat our dad to death. Because she was going to beat me to death. She wasn't going to stop. And I wasn't going to move because I, for whatever strange reason, was in shock myself. Now, mind you, I've had my grandmother whip my ass, in a way like this before. And that's not with rebar. But even I couldn't move. Like, I stood there and I took this ass whooping. And I think it was the power of Nana Bear that had taken over me and said, you came out your fucking mouth and you're going to take this ass whooping. You're going to take it. Or it was just the fear of knowing that if I didn't take it, it was going to come from either my mother or father later because she would let them know about it. So I don't know what it was, but something paralyzed me and allowed me to be beaten with rebar several times until my sister came downstairs and pulled me away from my grandmother. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, you were attacked. No, I didn't attack her. Not once. I've never raised a hand to my grandmother. Never. Never. Never raised a hand to my grandmother or my mother. My sister once, maybe, or I threatened her, and my dad choked the shit out of me for it, so my eyeballs popped out of my head. But as far as me actually putting a hand on any female in my family besides my daughter to whoop her ass when she got out of line, then no. I've never smacked or slapped or punched a woman in my life, especially none in my family. I was taught better than that, I had strong women in my family, women that were about their men, and I learned a very good lesson that day, which was, watch what the fuck comes out your mouth when you are fucking with a Nana Bear. Because I can imagine what went through her head. It's the same thing that happened to me recently with my son doing the things that he just did before he left. Is here I am, a child that you have done so much for. Even though I've done some wrong to you, most of your life is good. In fact, most of the good in your life is because of me. But you want to blame me for shit. And this is what my grandmother is saying. I know it sounds like I'm just talking about me, but no. I get now what went through her head because, at first I was pissed off. I went to the hospital and shit. Contusions, bruises, concussions. She beat the shit out of me. I'm not fucking joking. She beat the fucking ever-loving shit out of me. But I deserved it. You know why? Because I bit the hand that fed me. I bit the hand that fed me by telling her to kiss my ass. I was taught to respect those who do for you regardless of whether you like what's coming out of their mouth at the time. And I know you're going to say, oh, that means you take everything. No, that doesn't mean that, because I can voice my opinions in a respectful manner, if necessary, to any authority in my life. But to come out of my fucking mouth and tell the woman who's done everything she can for me to kiss my ass. Well, I'm lucky I walked out of that fucking apartment with my head on my shoulders because she was going to take it off. Now, she'll tell you she doesn't remember it. And I'm sure she doesn't. Not Nana. Not the Nana that we all know baking cakes and pies and things. But you have to understand, my Nana is more than one Nana. There's like 4 or 5 of them. And one of them will whoop the ass of anything, anywhere, anytime, with anything, anywhere, at any time. without question, hesitation, or warning. She gives no warnings. If you're lucky enough to survive, well, then you're just going to be like, how did I allow her to whoop my ass? Because you're going to look at her. And you're going to be like, she has swollen legs. She's 95. She has spinal fusion surgery, which means she cannot walk without the aid of a walker. But this woman literally whooped your ass within an inch of your life and sent you to a hospital with contusions, concussion, and several bruises and cracked ribs. From rebar that you didn't even see she had. Now I know what you're saying. What the fuck does this have to do with the original story that you were telling about you in the kitchen cooking some stuff with your son, and I don't know what it has to do with it. It changed. This is the chaos. There is no order. This isn't Omen G stupid fucking scary stories. I hope you guys weren't hoping for a stupid scary story. No, if I tell a story on the chaos, it's a real story. I have another real one for you. Now, like I said, these stories are of the discipline that I was put through. And I say put through because I had to be put through it. I'm not saying put through because it was bad. I look at it now and I'm glad. I'm so fucking glad that I got my ass whooped. Because I needed it. I fucking needed it. I could only imagine if my parents put me on timeout or told me to sit in a corner and read, or, oh, you're going to take this way, what type of person I would became now. They had to put the fear of ass whooping and isolation from what I want to do in my mind. There's two things I did not like. Well, there's one thing I do not like now. I hate it. You can smack me around. I can take that. I don't particularly care for it, but I'm not going to shy away from it in the past. I've been punched in the face several times. I had my skull cracked. This is what it is. Do I want to go through it? No. Of course not. But I know what it feels like, so I'm not afraid of it. Happens, it happens. I'm more worried about the cosmetic effects than I am the pain of it. You know, I don't want to lose my teeth. I'm 40-something years old now. I lose teeth. They're not growing back. I'll be a toothless sack of fucking shit trying to holler at ladies with missing teeth. And they're going to be looking at me like, ha ha, snagger-toothed ass motherfucker. Fuck out of here. Not fucking with you with missing ass teeth and shit. They'll probably think I'm a meth head or a crackhead or whatever head loses teeth at an age that they don't feel should lose teeth at, right? But anyway, yeah, I deserved the ass whoopings like that. I deserved every last one. I'm not one to say that I was abused. I was not abused. But you people, especially Gen Alpha and Gen Z, or some of the more progressive, or whatever the fuck you call yourselves. I don't know what you call yourselves. The non-disciplinarian committees. You would say, oh, that was abuse. You should have your parents arrested. And I'm sure if they could nowadays go back and charge parents that whooped the asses of their children when it was legal to whoop your children's asses, they probably would try to arrest my parents if they could. They would definitely arrest my grandma. Definitely. And I know what you know, she's terrible. No, she's not. She had a bunch of fucking boys. Now, mind you, boys in the 80s were boys. We didn't play with Barbies. We didn't play with dolls. We played outside with rocks and sticks, bikes, fucking mud, fucking fortresses, snowballs. And when the snowball wasn't good enough, you put a rock in the snowball. Especially if you didn't like the fucking people you were throwing them at. This was boyhood. Boyhood. There wasn't such thing called boyhood back then. You know, boyhood and then manhood. But boyhood was like the precursor to manhood. So during boyhood, you know, that's when dad kind of like, to me it was like the age past the age of 5. Like from 4, you know, from baby to 4, you were around dad. Dad would take you things, but mom was always there because you were still kind of like fresh on your feet. So, you know, she knew dad was waiting to take you out there and fucking have fun with your ass because you're a boy. He wants to play games with you and show you things, teach you what he learned as a boy, right? That's what he wants to teach you. He's excited about this because he knows you're a boy. He took ass whoopings growing up, fell down, scraped his knee, and he was okay, so he knows he doesn't have to worry. Now, men with daughters, it's different. Well, y'all are different. Y'all are different. My daughter will tell you I didn't raise her as some prissy little dainty, you can't take care of yourself female. No, not at all. Exactly the opposite, in fact. I raised my daughter like I raised my sons. She fell, I didn't coddle her. Nope, don't come running to me. You scraped your leg jumping off some shit you shouldn't have jumped off of. Now deal with it. My little baby girl, she's hardcore for that. She don't need you to cry for her and shit. She'll fuck you up. But she can be a lady. She can be quite the lady. And she demands respect as a lady. But if you want to get it fucked up, she don't need no man to fucking bust your ass. She'll do it her fucking self. And then I'll find out later, and then I'll do it again with her brothers. 2 of her brothers, anyway. Now, anyway, to the second story of me being disciplined as a child. Me, my adopted uncle, and my younger brother. My younger biological brother. Walking Dairy Queen with my dad. Now, Dairy Queen was a treat. That was like, holy fucking shit. Dairy Queen, Mr. Misty Freeze, or Float. I like the one where they mix the ice cream in with the slush. I don't like it when they put it at the top, because I was just going to mix it in there anyway. And then when I found out that they already had one that it was mixed in, I felt like a jackass for continuously getting the one where I had to mix it in myself, because, you know, it's hot in the summertime. The slush starts to melt, and then you've basically got creamy water, flavored creamy water, and that made me mad. So I was, happy when I found out that they made them with the, ice cream already mixed in. Mr. Misty Freeze, I think it's called. Anyway, right, we're coming back across this bridge. It's on L.T. Grasso Boulevard. Between Kimberly Avenue and Lamberton Street is a bridge. And it goes over the train tracks. We're walking on this. Now, there's a lot of traffic there, people. I mean, it's like a highway. I'm not even joking with you. High-speed traffic flying. They do not give a fuck if your ass is in the street. They will run you over and keep going. They will. I've seen them do it several fucking times. Kids, adults, it does not matter to them. You're in their fucking way. Because this is coming right off of 95. So you figure people catch that green light coming off that motherfucking highway, and L.T. Grasso's a straight shot from one side of New Haven to almost, one of the other sides of New Haven. So it's like a straight line. And these people come off, they can catch that shit. They are going to fly down this motherfucker 75 miles an hour. I've seen them do it. Anyway, we're walking right now. Mind you, I'm afraid of heights, so I don't really like walking on this bridge anyway, especially on the side where I can see the train tracks. It scares me. So I'm walking on the side closest to the street. And it just so happens, because there's all of us walking there, I'm kind of walking on the curb. Now, my dad's not saying anything to me at first, because he does realize why I'm doing this. But the other 2 that are with us, my uncle and my brother, start copying me. Now, I'm getting frustrated, because it becomes a thing of, now I'm just trying to avoid that side and be looking down, to now I have to walk on the curb because they're there. Now I'm like, fuck it, we're all over here. Let's make it a thing of balancing on the curb. Now, what happens if you lose your balance, folks? You fall, right? Of course. You usually fall to the side where you have the least balance. Now, it just so happens in our case, the side we had the least balance on, obviously, was the side towards the street. So we're almost falling into the street like 2 or 3 times. My dad sees this. He's like, listen, stay the fuck away from the curb, all right? Or I'm going to bust your lips. And you're going to go home with fat lips. Now, here's what I'm thinking, right? Ha! Dad is not busting anybody's lip. Nana's there on the porch waiting for us to come back with ice cream. Mom's there waiting for us on the porch to come back with ice cream. We go back with busted lips, my grandmother's going to say something. Now, up to this, my grandmother used to save me my ass from getting whooped, only to whoop my ass later. But she would keep my dad from whooping my ass, because my dad didn't live with us for the first, 5 years of my life. And he has a history, and not a bad history. He was just an orphan, you understand what I'm saying? So I think my grandmother was a little concerned that he may go further than she would with the ass whoopings, but that was never the case. My grandmother whooped my ass probably worse than my dad did. My dad was very methodical. 4 lashes, or he would give you equal punishment for whatever the crime was that you did. So I can't say that my dad was an animal when it came to whoop my ass, because he wasn't. He was not at all. I just feared disappointing him more than anything. Like, I feared not being a man in his eyes because my father's a man. So that's where most of that came from. Not the ass whoopings. His ass whoopings didn't really hurt that much. Nana's though, because she would go ham on you. She would go ham. But let me finish with what I was saying, right? We're walking down there and curb keeps happening. So, right, we stop walking on it for a few minutes, but of course, it's me that gets it started. The other two are listening. I'm looking at them like, y'all some bitches. Like, the fuck is he really gonna do? He is not gonna bust our fucking lips. So what do? I start walking on the curb, and now I'm being extra with it. Like, I'm hopping on it. Like, making it known that I'm doing what he just told me not to do. Because I'm calling him to my ass, right? Now, he doesn't do anything for a little while. He sees me. I know he does. But he's not saying anything, right? I'm thinking maybe he's just, like, really not gonna do shit. Now, in his head, I know what he's thinking. He's like, I'm not gonna do this right now because it's just him. I'll deal with him by himself, right? But then my brother got into it, and so did my uncle. Now they're all doing it, right? They're following behind me. So, as soon as that happens, I remember being grabbed from behind, snatched right off the curb, woof, twisted around, and then my father with 2 fingers flicked me in my lip and busted my bottom lip wide the fuck open. Busted that shit wide open. I mean, I had a fat ass lip, and there is nothing worse than a busted lip. Oh, who remembers busted lips? You remember how fucked up those shits were? Fucking lip splits. Then you got that split in your lip and it's all swollen and it wants to bleed and it splits again. You gotta let it heal and you can't do anything because if it splits, it starts bleeding. Yeah, busted the fucking shit right out of my lip. Then he grabbed my brother and my uncle and he popped their lips too. But I got the fattest of them because I was the fucking ringleader. And he knew that. He knew the only 2 just followed me because they were stupid enough to do so. So he made sure he made an example of my ass, and he sure enough did. And we went home with goddamn Mr. Misty Freezes and fat fucking lips. My grandmother and my mom were on the porch. What the hell? You know, what happened? My mom knew. She knew because she seen my lip, and she seen my lip was bigger than the rest of them, and I was the one kind of trailing behind them, not saying anything. Like, I didn't run up there crying like he did something wrong. I shut the fuck up, sucked on that fat fucking lip, went in the backyard, nursed my fat lip with my ice cream slushy from Dairy Queen, and I shut the fuck up for the rest of the day. But that didn't stop me from still testing my father. I mean, I pushed the boundaries. I pushed the boundaries with everybody in my family. I was a terror. I was terrible. I was a terrible child. Now that I think about it, like, I am surprised that my mother and father didn't fucking kill me. Like, seriously, I'm surprised they didn't. I was violent and just mean. But I was a happy kid, so to speak. You know? I just wanted to do what I wanted to do. But I was shackled. You know, there was things that you weren't allowed to do, and they wouldn't let me do them. And, you know, because of this, I think a lot of what made me who I am now is just me bursting through the containment that they tried to have. They tried to give me structure, and I didn't want it. You know, and I don't know if that has to do with me getting smacked in the head a few times as a kid, or the split skull when I was a baby. Well, not a baby, like 3 or 4 from the fucking steel chair incident. I don't know or maybe I was just born this way. You know, maybe I was destined to be this kind of a person regardless, you know. But, you know, I look at my children now, and I can tell the ones that are like me. And it's funny, the ones that are like me are very rarely called like me by those who would normally call children of the, you know, like me. I lost you there, and I know I did. Like, for instance, my oldest children's mother tells my oldest son that he acts just like me. No, he does not act anything like me. He is the furthest thing from me out of every last one of my children. There is not a characteristic of his that I can see mirrors mine. He's a liar. He's dishonest and he's disloyal. I am loyal as fuck. I'm loyal to people who fuck me over. He's disloyal. Now, if he's loyal, he's loyal to people that he does not owe loyalty to. You know what I'm saying? And I can't think of too many people he fucks with because he spent a very big chunk of his young adult life as a bum living on a floor with urine and feces by choice. By choice. But that's neither here nor there. Fact is, my youngest one, the one sitting behind me right now, is about the closest thing to me, except like way more advanced. Like way more advanced. And it's scary as fuck. Because he's the only one of my children who will actually fight me. Without a problem, without hesitation. And I know this because he's almost fought me before. And I was just tickling him. But he got mad. And this rage filled his fucking eyes. And I seen it. I seen it. He doesn't know that I know about this. He's got headphones on, so he doesn't hear me talking about it. At least I don't think he does. He might, but I hope he doesn't. But I know. A fight with him, it's to the death. There is no coming back from that. And that's why I love him so much. Because I know if we ever come to those terms, then I know where I stand with him. Like, I know you fucked up, we're done. Like, I don't have to be like, he's going to come around one day and it's going to be like, are you trying to fool me? No, if he comes around and we've had odds, he's coming to fucking finish me off. I know you people are probably like, why would that make you happy? Because I don't like confusion and uncertainty. I don't like it. But I know as long as he's with me, he's got my fucking back more than most. I hate to differentiate between children, It upsets me. But I honestly feel that out of all 4 of my babies, 3 of them will have my back. 2 of them without question, 1 without hesitation. And that's the truth. Like, you have to face these things. That one right there, without hesitation. The one in the room there, he might hesitate, but he'll do it without question. My daughter, she may hesitate, she may question, but she's gonna act eventually. The oldest one, he's not gonna do shit. If I had to rely upon him to save me from anything whatsoever, I might as well just blow my own fucking head off. Just blow it off. Not only has he bit the hand that fed him several times, not just my hand, but other hands. Just other hands continue to keep putting their hand in that cage to be bit. I did it 3 times. I'm not doing a 4th. I've only got 2 more fingers left on this hand for him. And I'm going to save those for when he really, really needs me, because one day he will. And if I use all those fingers now, then that day when he needs me, I'm going to look at him and be like, go fuck yourself. Now, I don't know how many fingers are left on Miles' hand, because the unfortunate thing for him, or anybody for that matter, is my son Miles has told me that his plan is to never leave his father. Ever. That no matter where I go, he's going to go. And I'm fine with that. I am totally fine with that, because my son gives me my space and I give him his. So it wouldn't be a thing of me being on top of him or him being on top of me. I get why he doesn't want to go anywhere. And I don't want him to, because not too many people are going to understand him like I do. you know, and somebody's going to piss him off and he's going to do what he's going to do. And I don't want that to happen, you know. So I'm glad that he plans to stay with me for the rest of his life. I know I'll always have somebody, you know, because I know he'll take care of me because he always has. If I'm hungry, he'll feed me. If I'm sick, he tries to nurse me. You know, he's a good kid. He's a real good kid. He's not the best, but he's good. He's great. He really is great. Once again, like I said, I don't favor any of my children over others until they make the decision that I am no longer their parent. Once you have extricated me from your life, well, then you're not my kid. At least figuratively speaking. Literally you are, but figuratively you have decided that I'm no longer your father. Therefore, well, you just don't exist to me right now. I mean, honestly. I know that you people are probably saying there's no way in the world you. Yeah, I've learned that. I've learned in the past 16 years how to cut people off and just give them the cold heart and not cold shoulder. Because I'm not ignoring you to get a rise out of you. I'm not ignoring you for you to be crawling back to me. I'm ignoring you because you no longer exist. So I'm not ignoring you. You just don't exist. But that's your choice. And it's not easy for me to do these things. I don't take joy in it. It doesn't make me happy. It's painful. Trust me, it's my firstborn child. It is painful as fucking hell. It hurts. It hurts deep. It hurts deeper than he will ever understand. Unless his daughter, of course, tells him that she no longer sees him as her father. Which she may, since he hasn't really been much of a father to her. Phone calls and playing video games and smoking weed while she's around you does not count as being a father. Being a father, my son, is doing things with her, finding out what she loves, what drives her, what is her motivation, and then fueling it. Sparking that fuel up, watching that fire grow, and then feeding that fire constantly, like I do with my youngest one. And my 16-year-old, like I was doing with him when he was here. Greatness scares some. He has the potential to be a great kid, a great person, a great human being, a contributor to society in a way that could change the lives of many for better. But he chooses to be selfish and caught up in a bubble of nonsense. Like I was for some time. But to my... well, there's no excuse. The reasoning behind my idiot nonsense is my drug addiction. When I was addicted to drugs, I was not a good person. I wasn't a good person. I wasn't a person that you could trust. I wasn't a person that you would want to leave around your valuables if you wanted to keep them. And I didn't go around stealing people's shit. I was never a thief because I worked so I could take care of my habits. But my family, when I wanted more than I could afford, I would ask them for money to support my habit. And they did until they realized what they were doing. And then, of course, I tried lying about what I needed the money for. And since I wasn't very good at lying, I would create situations where I would then be telling the truth somewhat about lying. Like, oh, I need the money to pay the electric bill. Well, why do you need the money to pay the electric bill when you have a job? Well, I didn't explain that part of it. Fact was, I spent the money on drugs first, and then figured I'd worry about the electric bill later. But never did I ever go there and say something else, like, oh, I need food, having a house full of food, and then go buy drugs with it, you know? I always made sure my family was taken care of first, if that lessens the addiction nonsense, which in my mind I don't want it to. I was fucked up during that time period. Simple and plain, and I'll own that. Anybody in my family who knows me knows I own it. I've told everybody in my family what I did. I'm not ashamed of it, because it doesn't define me. It defines a period of time in my life, but it does not define me. Unfortunately, what does define a lot of who I am now, especially now, is the nonsense that I've gone through dealing with people that I've trusted and allowed into my life when, as a child, I was taught very early on that you can't trust people, that people will hurt you in the worst of ways. The worst of ways. I know what you're thinking. Why is he playing this music in the background? He's telling real story shit. Well, it kind of allows me to add some humor to it because I don't want it to get so heavy that it's depressing. Because I'm not depressed about sharing this stuff. I'm sharing these things as I always have shared things with you so that you know who it is that you're subscribing to. So you know who it is that you're watching. So you know who I am. So that if someday somebody comes out and says, oh, this guy said this about trans people, you're like, yeah, I know he did, because that's who he is, and we don't care about that because we like him for who he is, not for what he says per se. My whole journey on YouTube is a twofold one. Yes, eventually I would like for us to be able to make money off of YouTube just like so many other people do. But is that my number one goal? No. My number one goal is to be a voice for those who are voiceless, like men with mental problems, men who suffer from any type of mental disorder. The month of June was Men's Mental Health Month, and I didn't find out until July. And June was a month for me that I could have used some fucking mental health help. I can actually use it pretty much any given day. It's not easy dealing with some of the things that I'm dealing with mentally and psychologically, being unmedicated, and I'm not going back on medication. So anybody who's like, just get the medication, fuck you, and fuck you again. And just for good measure, fuck you one more time. I'm not going on medication. I'm not going to rob myself of my own personality and who I am simply because someone else tells me that I have a chemical imbalance and I'm not normal. Who are these people who say who is normal? Just the majority of those that are in control. Let's say the majority of the world was bipolar, right? And we were in control. Then you normal people wouldn't be normal, and we would find some way to tell you that you're not normal. So just think about that shit, and before you go judging the rest of us out there who have to admit to the problems that we have because you force us to. And then you stigmatize us as a group of whatever you want to fucking use to make it okay for you to do the things that you do. We're not a category that you can file away somewhere. We're still human beings too, just with our issues. And we shouldn't be made to feel as if our issues are wrong. What is wrong with being moody? Okay? What is wrong with it? So you're not happy all the fucking time. Look at the world we live in. Who could be fucking happy all the fucking time? I go to work and I deal with different personalities all day, different situations all day. I go to a grocery store, I buy milk one week, it's $4. I go the next week, it's almost $6. The world is moody. The world's bipolar. So how in the fucking world am I the abnormal one? I think the people who think things are supposed to be on some level plane all the time are the abnormal ones because they're the ones that have such a fucking hard time with shit. Now, I don't know the statistics. I don't. But I would really like to know how many bipolar people have gone on mass shootings that are known to be bipolar and weren't on any medications at all, ever. Or at least not within the past 2 years of committing said offense. I'm almost guaranteed that most of them haven't thought of doing that. I mean, there's times that when I was a person, going through what I was going through, I even wrote a song about it called The Limit, where I wrote from the perspective of someone who may or may not want to commit a mass shooting, the reasons why one would. And it's often not what one thinks. But I'm not that type of person. See, I cannot fucking bring myself to end an innocent person's life simply because I'm having a bad day. I can't bring myself to end an innocent person's life because maybe some group or a person from that particular group of people did something wrong to me. I'd look for that person. Maybe I would extend it to that person's family. But even then, how far am I willing to go with it? You know what I'm saying? How far am I willing to take it before it's just pointless and I'm just as bad as the person that hurt me in the first place? Like, and this is some real shit, right? So I will say this warning now. For the next few statements, for this next segment, because I'm about to talk about sexual abuse. Alright, I'm about to talk about my personal experience with sexual abuse and how I feel about the person who perpetrated said sexual abuse against me and the things that I wish I could have or would do if I could find them now. So I want you to understand that these are my thoughts. I don't plan on acting on them because if I was going to, I would have. But these are the things that I think in my mind when I think of the person who did these things to me. 3 years I went through this with this person. And, I didn't understand what pedophiles were. I'm still trying to get my head wrapped around it now. I just know that there are people who prey on children. I know what it's like to be preyed on by an adult as a child and what that does to you. Let me tell you one of the things that most people don't understand that it does to you if you have never been molested or, been the victim of a pedophile. Forget the sexual part of it, all right? Forget that. Just understand the attention that you're getting from an adult that's not a parent or an aunt or an uncle. It's overwhelming for a child because you're not sure why this adult is really showing you this attention, but they are. And of course, they don't make it seem weird. I mean, of course, as a child, you do think it's weird because most parents or adults don't really want you around them most of the time. Hey, how you doing? Happy to go play is what you usually hear. Play clothes, go outside and play. Right? But no, she was different. I'll come home from school. I was in kindergarten at the time, so I was 4. And she would pick me up and she would tongue kiss the fucking shit out of me. Like, I didn't know what this was. I just knew her tongue was in my mouth. And this was as a child. So I didn't know, I don't know what tongue kissing is. I didn't obviously figure that out until later on when I was, an adolescent. And then I did it for the first time. And I was like, this reminds me, it all started. But let's get back to it, right? So that was one of the things. Now, I'm not going to get into gross detail. That's all you need to know. It went further than that. Let's just say that. I learned about body parts and things and breasts and vaginas and penises and what they do and all that stuff from her. Not my parents. Not in a healthy way at all. Now, of course, I don't know that this is wrong. I have no idea that all this stuff is wrong. I mean, it feels weird. It feels like something that shouldn't be happening. But I don't know any better. And I'm not telling my parents or my grandparents because part of me is enjoying this attention that I'm getting from this adult in this way. Right? And also, I was told not to say anything because, I'd be taken away if these things happen. Of course, I don't want to be taken away from my fucking family. Now, mind you, at this time, I'm an only child. There's no other kids in the house. Just me. With her. I started acting out in school, something terrible. I ended up getting kicked out of my my kindergarten in first grade, which was a Catholic school. And they kicked me out. They were like, hey, he is just, he won't listen. He's all over the fucking place. He's smacking the nuns with yardsticks after they hit him for disciplining reasons. He pulled a knife, although it was fake. It was fake. It was plastic. This kid George gave it to me. But I pulled it on one of the nuns. I smacked the little urn that they do the little thing with in the mass in the morning. Smacked that out of the priest's hand. I was a troubled kid. But not because my parents were terrible. Because I was going through some shit that I didn't fucking understand. Now, time went on. This goes on for like 3 years. I've gone from private, from St. Peter's School, which was kindergarten, first, second grade. It's still going on. At this point, it's normal to me. Now I look forward to this shit. I come home, I'm waiting for my kiss and my little private time with my abuser. I'm looking forward to this shit, and it starts to slow down. My brother was born. And he was around. And when he was around, she stopped paying attention to me. And that made me mad. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what the fuck? This motherfucker is born. First things first, he's born on my fucking birthday. Takes my parents. They get married because he's here. Now my whole name has to change from what it was to what it is now, and this bitch is no longer fucking with me. My whole life came to a fucking weird crashing halt at the age of like 6. And it was fucking hard to deal with, so it got repressed. That whole portion of my life was put into a box, filed away under never touch again, and that's what happened. For a long time, I didn't even remember this woman doing what she did. Fast forward a few years, about the age of 12, 13, I'm in fucking church. And here she is in church, right? She's got kids now, right? She's got kids. And I see her, and something just comes over me, right? I don't know what it is. I just felt sick, and I had to leave, so I did. And I start having these nightmares, is what I thought they were, of her doing these things to me, right? Now, mind you, I'm 13, so I've learned what sex is supposed to be like. I know I've seen porno films. You know, I used to sneak into my dad's collection of Playboys and shit and videotapes that they would rent from like the porn section of the video stores at like Tommy K's and Blockbuster. You know, the adult tapes, the black area. Ah, you can't look at these. You know, so I seen it. And in none of those videos did I ever see women with children, obviously, because that's illegal. But I didn't know this, right? So porn was weird to me because it wasn't what I understood at that point sex between people to be. So it fucked my whole head up, but I didn't say anything. I just filed it away and moved on, right? So now I see this woman. I'm going through puberty, so obviously now I'm thinking about sex and shit, but it was always in a weird way, right? I didn't think of it as I wanted to be with girls my age necessarily, right? Like, I was attracted to females, period. Some of them older than others, but not just my age. You know, if they didn't have breasts and features that I wanted to see, I was a little bit weirded out by it. And I think this music is about to end, which it is. So I'm gonna like bring it back. Well, I'm not gonna bring it back. I'm gonna keep going with other stuff. Let's go to the next one. I didn't think I was gonna actually go on and on with this, but I guess I need to get it out. Like, I'm just guessing that's what it is. So yeah, it starts to flood my mind. I'm starting to have visions and I'm starting to think of it. I'm looking at normal sexual relationships. I'm looking at what I've learned of sex and relationships. And then everything just starts fucking filling my head. And it's weird. Because now I remember something happening to me around the same time with a male foster child that my grandmother had taken in. I'm seeing this shit. And I'm thinking, nah. Nothing happened, right? Nothing happened. So 14, 15 comes, I'm wilding out. My parents are telling me, you know, what color cast suit do you want to be buried in? Because I'm just not listening. I'm doing what I want to do, and they can't reach me. So, you know, I ask about this, and the faces in the room get really long, right? Because I'm assuming they knew this was going to happen eventually, that I was going to finally realize what it was. So my mom was like, talk to you. And as soon as they said that, you know, I already knew that the things I were seeing in my head, the nightmares that I were having, they weren't nightmares. They were like the repressed shit finally spilling out. The box opened somehow. I don't know how, but it did. And it made me question my worth as a human being, because one of the things that bothered me so much is I saw this woman later after church, and we were at an event for a church. Funny how she's all up in the fucking church, right? And, you know, we were cooking. Like my grandmother did. It was like a dinner or something. And she had to serve. She was like one of the servers, because she was like an usher or some shit like that. So she brings over my food, right? And I'm looking at her, and I can recognize her clear as day, even though she's gotten older. I know who she is. Like, I know who she is. I can still taste her lips in my fucking mouth. At least while I'm looking at her, I can. You know, and this feeling starts to come over me, right? It's like, like super anxiety. I was mad. I was sad. I felt betrayed, thrown away, and that was the biggest thing. Is I felt thrown away. I felt discarded. I felt like trash because when she came over to me, she did not know who I was. I was like, "You don't remember me?" She said, "No." "You mean from church?" I'm like, and I just said, yeah, from church, you know. "No, bitch, from early on. 3 years. Like, that was 3 years of my fucking life. And you don't remember any of it?" And that shattered me right then and there. Part of me split off. And it went into a box. And it stayed there for a very, very long time. And it just collected all the negative, evil things that people did to me, and it held on to them. But yeah, I've always had trust issues with people. My entire life, I've always had trust issues with people. I've always not been able to trust them to do anything but fuck me over. But I love people, you know? Because of the fact that I was discarded, I seek acknowledgement from those people who will give it to me, but I know it's negative. I know if I get it, I didn't earn it, at least not in the way I should have. But just that little bit of acknowledgement is sometimes just enough to get me going through the fucking day. Or at least it was. At least it was. Like I said, I've died mentally several times in my life. I've had to like die and rebuild myself. And there's always the core of me, you know, there's always the main root left. And different branches come up because I have to reconfigure my brain, reconfigure my way of thinking, and reconfigure the way I express myself. And sometimes I often end up just isolating myself because there aren't too many people that understand me. And I'm not unique in the sense that I'm the only person that people don't understand. I'm sure there's a lot of you out there right now who feel the same way, and you're probably right. You're probably right. There probably isn't anybody that understands you. And finding a therapist takes time. Time I just don't have. I don't have time for that. I've got my kids who I have to be there for. I have to be. Because I'm all they've got. I'm all they've got. You know, I'm all they've got. And I can't falter. I can't waver. I can't back down. I can't take a day off. I can't replenish, recharge. It's go, all go. Go, just go. Go. And that's what I do, I go. And I don't regret it. There's not a day that I say, I wish that I had a different life. No, because I know as hard as it is now, as much as I'm putting into them, which is everything I've got, they're gonna be great. They're gonna be great. I know this. Because I won't stop until they are. And I know that if they're anything like me, they won't stop until they are. And great, meaning great, not rich, not wealthy, not full of material possessions. They're going to be great human beings. They may not have any money at all, but they're going to make an impact on a community that is staggeringly important to that community. If it's nothing but raising their fucking children and family right. Yeah. Sorry about that, folks. I had to get that shit off my chest, man. It's been bothering me for a while. I find myself crying about it sometimes. Because it's made me dealing with women extremely difficult. And in the last 16 years I had with this woman, for her to have lied to me completely about everything, just completely, totally confused. I don't know what women want or need or how to approach them anymore. Especially since women are so much different now than they used to be. And even if I didn't know them then, because I got hook boogied and bamboozled, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm just very kind of like, I'm going to just stay over here. You know, I'm afraid. I'll be real with you. I'm afraid. I'm afraid of what would happen if I'm hurt again. Because I don't want to be hurt again. I don't want my kids to be hurt again. I don't want to bring anybody into our family that's going to hurt them. So, knowing that not every relationship is going to be perfect and that they can and will end, well, I guess I just won't have a relationship then. Because I don't want to hurt my kids. They mean more to me than anything. Fuck my happiness. My happiness is their happiness. If they're happy, I'm happy. And I'm not alone. I just don't have a female companion, you know. Like I said, would that be an ideal thing? Yes, it would be. Because the thing about me, women, is I can love any woman. It doesn't matter where you come from, what race you are. It does matter how you look, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, if you're fucking fat as shit, I'm not fucking with you. I'm just not physically attracted to that, and I'm not gonna settle for something just to get what I want. I want all that I want, and I should be able to have all that I want. And if I can't have all that I want, I don't want a model girl, super pretty. No, just not fat. Okay? Just not fat. Okay? There we go. You could be ugly. I don't give a fuck if you're ugly. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. You may be beautiful to yourself, but ugly to me. But guess what? If you have a mind, you're a good fucking human being. You're a decent fucking person. You genuinely care. You're not trying to take me for what I may or may not have. You have your own. I don't have to take care of you, even though I would if I feel like it. And if you're good to me, trust me, I'm going to be great to you. But see, the thing is, I know that often, at least I believe in my mind, that that's not going to happen for me. I'm going to be too much for a person to take. You know, they're going to be all happy with the good part of it, but then when they have to deal with one of my outbursts, they're going to be like, oh my God, I didn't sign up for this. And they didn't, because we're not married, and I'm never getting married again. I will not do that. Once was enough. Nah. Because I strongly believe until death do you part, and since I had to renege on said part of this agreement with the fucking first and only wife, well, I'm not gonna enter into any more contracts which aren't really held at law. At law. Till death do us part. So that means one of us should be dead. Right? I mean, till death do us part. One of us should be dead. Right? Right? That's the way it should be. And I don't want to die right now. And I'm pretty sure she doesn't want to die right now. So that clause in the contract should be changed. Not till death do you part, until you get tired of the other and part. That's what it should say. But nobody would marry each other if it said that, because that would be too fucking real. Never getting married again. At this point in my life, what would be the point of it? First things first, women, I can't have children. So, you know, if you were marrying someone to start a family, unless I have the procedure reversed, which that's like, you would have, and don't take this the wrong way, women. Please don't, because this is not a diss to women at all. But if I were going to go and have myself, you know, go through the procedure of having children again, that woman would have to be the absolute best woman I've ever met in my life. Meaning she's going to stay with me regardless of what. Love me regardless of what, because I need her to be there for my children. I need her to be there for my children. You know, I'm walking in territory that I am not familiar with, folks. I do not know what it is to be a mother. I have absolutely no idea. I've never had to raise children without their mother present. Like, my first two children always had their mother. You know, they could talk to her. They lived with her, for Christ's sakes. These two can't even talk to their mom. You know, they have no connection with their mother whatsoever. And I honestly don't know how a person, a human being who carries children, gives birth to them, and then homeschools them for 10 years, just walks out of their life like that's okay. Like, they're not going to be affected. Like, I'm not going to be fucked with well, I can't say fuck them because they're affected, but it hurts me because I don't understand it. And I can't answer the questions that they have. I'll never be able to answer those questions, and their mother is never going to answer those questions. she'll just make it seem as if it was my fault somehow, like most people around me do, because I'm so open and honest about my flaws and the things that I've done in my life that it's very easy to just continue to dump trash on trash. But that's the past. I am not that person. I am not doing those things. So to watch people continuously try to drop trash on me now is funny to me. Because I've proven to myself and my youngest two children just what I'm capable of doing. Which is what I've always been capable of doing, because I proved it to my first two children as well. But, you know, they didn't get to see it firsthand because of their mother. Now, I could sit here and bash women and bash single mothers and bash females, but I'm not going to do that because I think women are beautiful creatures. And I know my son said, why do you call them creatures? Because we are creatures. We are creatures of nature. And a real woman, a true woman, is one of the most beautiful things on this earth. Because without her, men do not stand a chance of dealing with the things that we have to face every single day. And I'm talking about men from the beginning of what men were. Not what we are now, but back in the day when a man just by nature was the one to do the hunting or the defending or the fighting, the dying. The women stayed home. And let's not act like that meant that they were safe. See, I don't understand why women feel as if saying your place is the home means that your place is someplace safe. No, the home wasn't safe. It wasn't safe. The men were away. You think other men didn't know this? Ooh, let's go kidnap the children. Or steal their supplies. Or steal their women. And in most cases, if a rival troop of men came in, they weren't going to save the children, they were going to kill the children. So women had to fight just like men did, just in different ways. They weren't expected to die. Not go out and die, but they knew there was a strong chance of them dying if, they were attacked. So, Nana bears were born. Women who would fight tenaciously for their children. Who would do anything they had to for their children. Without a man present. Now, these women weren't going to protect the men because that wasn't their fucking job. If the man was around, that was his job. And that was a known thing. There was no question about it. It was just, if you as a man didn't get up and answer that fucking door if something came knocking at it, then what kind of man were you? Why would you allow the woman who's going to protect your child, because you're going to have to go out and hunt eventually, why would you let her answer the door, right? You have all these people, they want to reverse roles and they want to change the way men and women do what they do these days, and they want to tell you that you can be a woman and tell women they can be men. Lies. All lies. All lies. All of them lies. Let's say that you could remove a vagina in whole, right? Like, you didn't have to fill it in or whatever it is they have to do for these transsexual procedures. Let's say you could just remove the whole vagina, like it was compartmental. You could pop it right out, just like you could pop off a penis, right? Now, obviously, if you weren't born with a penis or a vagina, you're gonna have to use someone else's. Right, now let's just say all these people who are swapping sexes save their sexual organs for the next person who decides that they don't want to be whatever it is they are, right? Right? Now let's just go by human fucking biological nature. Let's not go by anything psychological. Let's not go by fucking opinion. Let's just go by the human body in general. If you connect something or put something in the human body that was not born to said human body, it will reject it. It will do everything it can to get rid of it, kill it, destroy it, get it out, get it off. So you can't change your sex. Because when you chop off your penis and you drill a hole in yourself to make a vagina, that's not really a vagina because it doesn't have any of the muscles or the tissue that a vagina has. Therefore, it's just a hole in your body now that is supposed to be a vagina with labia and labia that are created, no clitoris, or do they create a clitoris with the head of your penis? And if they do, how does that work? Like, how does a transsexual woman gain pleasure from sexual intercourse? Because nerves are funny, so I'm assuming a part of the penis must be kept and turned into the clitoris. But if there are any trans women who have gone through this procedure, who see this video, and want to tell me what it is and how it works, please. But that's not going to change my mind into saying that you are a woman, because you are not. You are a man who has become a disfigured human being that is claiming to be a female. That's what you are. Okay? I'm sorry. I don't hate you. I don't hate you for what you've become. I'm sad for you, actually. I'm sad that there is an agenda in the world now that says that these things are okay because they're causing more problems. And I know there's some people that might say, well, I'm probably a homophobe or a transphobic. No, I'm not any of those things at all. I'm not afraid of homosexuals, nor am I afraid of trans people. I believe that there are boundaries in nature and boundaries in life that are not meant to be crossed or trifled with. And you guys have gone far beyond trifling with or crossing any of these lines. You know, if this was something that was considered in the slightest bit normal, there would be history of it somewhere buried in archives deep within the realms of historical record. We would find the first trans person. There is no first trans person until recently. Because this shit don't make no fucking sense. And when people did say it back then, they probably were said, look, you want to be not male? Well, then you can be a eunuch. We'll cut your dick off along with your balls because that's wrong, and we don't want you to reproduce and create more people like you. Now, I know that there's people that would say something like, oh, well, you know, if you castrate a man, you know what happens if you castrate a young man, young, very young, as a child, baby, cut off his balls? Well, yeah, it's going to lead to some really crazy physiological effects. Number one, the lack of testosterone. Testosterone is needed for males to develop properly. So if you take that away, it doesn't make them a female once again. It just makes them a mutilated man with issues stemming from said mutilation. The day a man naturally grows tits simply because he does not have a penis or balls, then I will believe that we can willy-nilly switch sexes as if it was meant to be. Until that day occurs, then men who become trans women are simply men who have mutilated themselves to become something that they cannot. Same thing for women who become trans men. And that's just the way I feel about it. That doesn't mean I hate you. That doesn't mean that I think that you're disgusting or that you are horrible people. But it does mean that I think that you belong in the bathroom of your biological. I know what you're saying. Oh, but then if I have a vagina, I should be able to use the bathroom with vaginas. And that is true. That is true. And I can't fault you there. But cross-dressing or saying you're a woman and you still have a penis and you think you're going into a woman's bathroom around my women or any women that are around me, well, you're wrong because you're not doing that. If I know that you have a penis, you're not going anywhere where I know that there are vaginas uncovered and unprotected for your penis to potentially penetrate as they have in the past under the guise of being women. So with that being said, cross-dressers, I know there's a few of you out there, and I doubt any of you watch this channel, but if you do, go ahead and comment. Say something negative or fucked up about what you're gonna do, and I'm gonna tell you exactly what it is that I'm gonna do. If I see you walking into a bathroom for females and you have a penis, I'm gonna kick you in your balls repeatedly. I'm gonna kick you in your fucking balls and dick so many times that it is going to be mush. And then if you choose to, after I chop it the fuck off, to go into the ladies' bathroom, well then that's fine, because you no longer have a weapon that you can use against them. At least not in that manner. And that's that. Call it inciting violence. I'm not telling anybody else to do it. I'm just telling you what I would do. If you're around any of my females and you think you're going in a bathroom with them with a penis and balls, and you just think that you're a woman. Oh, and what's so convenient is these dudes that are cross-dressing, they're not just women. No, they're gay women. Huh, how convenient. They're gay women, but still have dicks. Ha! I have no idea where any of this shit is going. Like I said, I've just been going through a whole lot of stuff mentally lately, and sometimes I just got to get all this shit out. And I'm going to a cookout today with my sons, and I don't want to go there with any of this stuff in my head, right? So I'm not going to do that. But for now, I'm gonna let you all go, because now I feel weird, like heavy. This didn't exactly do exactly what I wanted to do. Now I feel heavier than I did when I started. So I need to go and rethink things. And I'll talk to you all later. I hope you guys have a wonderful day.